former Florida Attorney General, now Florida Senator Ashley Moody. Senator, you're still fairly new to the United States Senate. I've never heard of such a thing. You have one person in Minnesota who can say, yeah, hey, these 8 people, you can go ahead and register them. Same day voter registration with no paperwork. You just have to, quote unquote, vouch for them. I'm sorry, but what the hell is that?
It's Minnesota, man. It's a whole different ballgame, apparently, in Minnesota, where your attorney general can stand at a podium with an Antifa handbook. I don't understand what's going on in Minnesota. I can tell you that it's not just the daycare fraud. And what I think was great about Nick Shirley's videos is it wasn't just that one daycare. He went to daycare after daycare after daycare. No one was there. When the people would come to the door, they wouldn't know what he was talking about. Not one child was there. Every American should watch the ease with which this kid went to these daycares and showed that there was outright fraud. And let me tell you about the other fraud that I think Walz is going to be running from. When he ran on the ticket, he was trying to convince Americans that he knew how to invest in and support and generate more small businesses, especially child care small businesses. He ran on that fraud and asked Americans to let him take the Minnesota way to the rest of the nation. So thankfully, President Trump got elected and is shining a light on this with Attorney General Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, all of the others, and saying this has to end. Every American should watch how taxpayer money was spent when the Democrats all voted to dump these flexible grants into the states. And then you have governors like Walz that said, yeah, I am historically supporting these types of small businesses. And Nick Shirley showed up and showed exactly what Walz was doing. It's great.
Senator, last question. Same thing I asked Tom Emmer. When is the Senate, along with the House, going to exercise the power of the purse? Because the only power that the United States Congress has, other than writing laws, is if they are not being enforced, if they're being abused, is to use the power of the purse. I was in Congress for 8 years. We never did it once. In the 8 years since I've left Congress, they've never done it once. And that's the problem, is the neutered part of Congress is the power of the purse, and they never use it. Nobody gets a penalty.
I can tell you, as a former Attorney General of Florida, I am so excited to be in the Senate and start bringing some accountability. I can tell you, as he said, in the Working Family Tax Cuts Act, we started bringing some really serious restrictions to how money can be spent trying to cut down on this fraud. And I just want to point out, and everyone should realize this, as the Republicans are doing this, and it was a party line vote, remember, Democrats didn't want to put in any of these restrictions. And when they just shut down the government and stopped paying troops and law enforcement and all of those people that Americans need to protect them, when they shut down the government, they did that because they wanted us to continue business as usual. Money going out the door, including the money that we know is going straight to fraud, as opposed to reforming that. And so you have some of us right now that are calling that out, will continue to call that out. It can't be business as usual for the future success of this country.
Senator Ashley Moody, appreciate it.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.